integrate x squared times e to the minus x without looking it up?
I'd use Feynman's trick, differentiate under the integral sign.
Yeah, okay.
We have to evaluate the integral from 0 to infinity x squared e to the negative x dx without using any formula like gamma function. The gamma function defined as gamma n plus 1 or n factorial is equal to by the integral from 0 to infinity x to the power n e to the negative x dx. So using gamma function, we can see the result of this integration, the integral from 0 to infinity x squared e to the negative x dx is 2 factorial or 2. We are going to evaluate this integration without using this formula. So as mentioned in the TV series Big Bang Theory, we are going to use the Feynman trick or Feynman technique, also known as the Leibniz rule, which is differentiating under the integral sign. To do this, we have to guess a function. Let's do some calculation before we are going to evaluate the integration. So differentiation of e to the negative alpha x gives negative x e to the power negative alpha x. The second derivative with respect to alpha is x squared e to the negative alpha x. So let's consider I of alpha, integral from 0 to infinity e to the power negative alpha x dx. So I prime alpha, or the differentiation with respect to alpha gives dd alpha integral from 0 to infinity e to the power negative alpha x dx. The differentiation inside the integral sign becomes the partial differentiation from 0 to infinity partial alpha of e to the power negative alpha x dx. So I double prime alpha, or second derivative with respect to alpha, is integral from 0 to infinity e to the power alpha x dx. We previously showed that this should give x squared e to the power negative alpha x dx. We see that for alpha is equal to 1, the I double prime of 1 is just the integral from 0 to infinity x squared to the power negative x dx, which is our desired integration. First, we have to evaluate the integral from 0 to infinity to the power negative alpha x dx, which is just negative e to the power alpha x over alpha from 0 to infinity. This gives us 1 over alpha. So I of alpha is just 1 over alpha. We have to find I double prime of evaluated at alpha is equal to 1. So first I prime alpha would be minus 1 over alpha square. Double prime of alpha would be 2 over alpha cube. So I double prime of 1 is just 2. So we just evaluated that I double prime of 1, or integral from 0 to infinity x squared e to the power negative x dx is just 2. To summarize what we have just done, integral from 0 to infinity x squared e to the power negative x dx is just dd alpha of integral from 0 to infinity to the power negative alpha x dx evaluated at alpha is equal to 1. We can just put a bracket here. Okay, so dd of alpha, second derivative. So first evaluate the integral minus e to the power alpha x over alpha from 0 to infinity, evaluated at alpha is equal to 1. Alpha of square so which is just 1 over alpha evaluated at alpha is equal to 1. The second derivative of 1 over alpha with respect to alpha is just 2 over alpha cube. So evaluated at alpha is equal to 1, which is just 2. If you like this video, give a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos.